Well, hello, everybody. It's been so long. Welcome back. My name is Matt, and I have 2 degrees. And welcome to our return from the Teacup summer vacation. It wasn't really a vacation. I was too busy to keep doing these. But we're back now with another Teacup movie marathon. And I'm so excited for the second half of this year because we have so many amazing things on the horizon that we're going to watch and we're going to talk about. And today is the first episode of a Teacup movie marathon that I have personally been waiting to do for like almost a year. I'm so excited. Of course, I'm talking about the Roald Dahl movie marathon. Now, you might be thinking, what is a Roald Dahl? Like, is it like a Barbie that you roll across the floor? It is not. Roald Dahl is a wonderful children's author who gave us such classics, such darkly comic classics, I almost said classics, such as James and the Giant Peach, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, other things, and the movie we're discussing today, Matilda, 90s classic. Can't wait. Before I bring in our guests for today, let's see who we have in the chat joining us. Princess Paula Bell. Hello, Paula. So good to have you. And Aubrey's here. New picture and username. Aubrey, we missed you. You got done chasing your nephew around. He's a sweet little boy who loves to read. And you think he has his own magic? That's so perfect for this. And Disney Dado, watching ads. Oh, Disney Dado, you're the best show of the week. There we go. Jolly Holiday with Mary is here. A delight, a delight. All right. Princess Paula Bell says, I love this movie. So do I. I'm so thrilled to talk about this movie. And James and the Giant Peach, that one is coming. Don't worry, don't worry. All right. So let's bring in our guests for this evening. It's a bunch of familiar faces that you know, love, and no doubt missed. Let's start off with Jeanette.
Hey.
It's Jeanette, aka Tinker J. Oh, we've missed you. Welcome back.
I've missed you. I've missed these conversations and all the fun.
Yes, as have I. So what have you been up to since we last came together?
Oh, just being over there on that other show I'm on. We like theme parks. So just a summer of fun.
It is a summer of fun. A summer of fun indeed. So excited to have you. Yeah. Anything else new and exciting?
I got a little Disney trip in the books and the plans here.
Again?
Yeah, well, it'll be October. So we went for our anniversary for like 2 days, but it'll be October for Halloween Horror Nights, and fingers crossed, Mickey's Not So Scary. So.
Oh my gosh, you're living my dream. You're living, well, not Halloween Horror Nights. That looks too scary. But Mickey.
I'm very excited.
It looks so good. I'm so excited for you. Well, I can't wait to hear all about that. Let's bring in our next friend. It's Morgan from Teaching Disney. Morgan, welcome back.
Hi.
Yes, we missed you too. What have you been up to since we last got together to talk movies?
Oh my gosh, so much. So much. So I've been on a bit of a YouTube hiatus the last 2 weeks because school started. So I've been back in my classroom. I have like so much content from that's going to come out eventually. And I went to Mickey's Not So Scary literally last weekend.
Oh, so
and
jealous.
That was so much fun. And then I just signed up for the Monsters Inc. 10K for the springtime surprise for
That's
Run
a
Disney.
Thing? There's
yes,
a Monsters
they
Inc.
just released it. So
do you just like run away from monsters? Because that's what I would want to do.
Well, I don't know. I don't think so. But like it's a Run Disney run. So you get to like run through the parks and everything, and you get to see characters. So this one, the springtime surprise this year is themed Pixar. So the 5K is Cars, the 10K is Monsters Inc. So of course I had to do that because I'm in love and I'm obsessed. I just went as Boo for whatchamacallit.
I was gonna say, I was like, didn't you did like a bound, right?
Well, I wasn't going to. So we were gonna do Chip and Dale, but at the last second, because we went the second weekend, so we didn't get rained out, luckily, like everyone else did that went on the first night. There is a Monsters Inc. dance party where you get to dance with Mike and Sully, and apparently the guy that is like the little the guy that keeps getting shaved, I forget what his name is. He has an actual name.
He does. Isn't it just like George or something?
I think it's George.
Is it George
Yeah.
Sanderson?
Sanderson.
That sounds
yes.
right. That
Yeah,
sounds
I know
right.
him from the Funko Pop. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you get to dance with all three of them, and Sully like literally almost trampled me. It was a magical moment.
That's the dream.
in my heart.
That's the dream. Oh my
So the 10K anyway, the 10K is Monsters Inc. theme. So I'm assuming we'll get to meet a bunch of Monsters Inc. characters, and I'm hoping it goes through the Magic Kingdom through the Scream.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
the
would
laugh
have to,
floor?
right?
Yeah.
The laugh floor. Thank you. I cannot think of anything right now. And then the 10 miler instead of a half, they have a 10 miler, and that's Buzz and Toy Story themed.
Okay.
And then if you decide to do all three, it's Nemo themed.
That makes no sense, but okay.
You get an extra medal, and it's themed Nemo.
Oh, okay. Like, yeah, no, I get that it's like the equivalent of the Dopey challenge, but Nemo, like to do all the things, he got
Well,
lost.
it's all Pixar, so
That's true. Like I would pick Cars because they can go the fastest. Although I think it's funny that the shortest one is themed to Cars because like you could just drive.
yeah.
Yeah.
And for the Wine and Dine, they also did mostly Pixar this year. So it's the 5 is Coco, the 10 is Raya, and the Last Dragon, which I am doing both of those. So that's
Love
in November.
Raya.
That's over my birthday weekend. And then I forget what that one has a half, and I forget what that one's themed, and I forget what the challenge is themed. But I didn't like them, so I was like, meh.
I hope you get to meet Raya. That'll be fun. Oh, I can't
I hope
wait to
so.
see the pictures. It's gonna be so good.
She's now an official Disney princess.
And to quote Lizzo, like I said on Facebook, it's about damn time. All right. Well, so excited to have you, Morgan. Let's bring in our final guest for this evening. This isn't his first time here, but it's been a while. So let's put our hands together to welcome back Alex Titi, also known as the star of the Niagara Falls production of Matilda the musical from a year or two ago. So we have like someone who knows the material from a whole new perspective here.
Indeed,
thrilled.
I was the title character Matilda
Yes, you
in
were.
2 years ago. It was my most challenging role yet, but
You've grown up a lot since then.
It's
yeah,
true.
yeah.
Did you take like Alice's like little drink thing where she shrinks, or the cake? I forget which one makes her shrink.
Me too, but one of those things for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Alex, welcome back. What have you been up to since you last graced our screens on this channel?
I mean, who knows? It's been a little bit, but
Yes.
I think. Oh yeah, I think last time I was here, I mentioned that you and I had at the time upcoming production in Niagara on the Lake.
We did.
That we
It wasn't
were
in
gonna be
Niagara on
involved
the
in.
Lake, though. No, it was St. Catharines.
Well, yeah, no, I think I might have either said that or I think I still say that. For some reason, I don't know. I guess because I associate wineries with Niagara on the Lake. So
Makes sense.
but yeah, so yeah, no, we've been involved in that since before July, but in July it opened. It was a
did.
performance, a live performance at our winery in St. Catharines. So
it's true. That is a
that's
thing that
something.
we've been doing together.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we've been doing that every once in a while, and then otherwise just been living my usual reclusive life. So
Fantastic. Well, I'm glad you could come out of reclusivity to
Mhm.
join us for tonight's discussion. And again, we are discussing Matilda, 90s classic. Now, show of hands, was this anyone's first time watching it? Alex's. Okay.
Stop.
Actually, well, that was going to lead to my next question. Alex, did you actually get a chance to watch it?
I did. I
Okay,
did. Yeah,
good.
I watched
So-
it before
That's a
watching
twist.
Thor's Love and Thunder at the
How-
theater.
Oh,
Theater.
I was gonna say.
So wait,
Yeah,
so
I
you
watched it
Matilda
at
at home. Oh, okay.
and then after I was finished with Matilda, I had a viewing of Thor's Thor Love and Thunder with a friend at the local theater,
Very
Quite
nice.
a-
The
quite a change of
Cineplex.
pace.
the Cineplex near my
I
place.
went there once or twice.
Oh yeah, it's
Yes.
classic.
Good times, good times. Well, then, we'll save your first impression for last. Let's start with those who have seen the movie before, and dare I say, those of us who may have even grown up with it. So, opening question that I always like to go with, favorite memories of the movie. If you can recall the first time that you saw it, what it meant to you, back then and how you feel it has held up now. I'm not going to go first. I usually go first. We'll start with Jeanette.
So my first time, I'm sure I saw it in theaters. I can't recall like the exact time. I may have even seen it more than once, but I know that I wore out the VHS and then wore out the DVD, and I've watched it pretty consistently throughout my life. Like when I rewatched it, I remembered more than I believed myself to have remembered. It'd been like a while, I guess. It'd been a while. It'd been like 3 or 4 years. I probably catch it on TV when it's on, you know? So, yeah, I pretty much remembered the whole movie. There wasn't anything that was like, oh, I forgot that happened. I was like, no, I've seen this movie enough to where this was all pretty fresh in my mind. So, and I think I read the book. I think I read the book in my lifetime. I'm not recalling if I did. Girl, come on. That's why we're here. The man wrote a book.
Oh, wait. Yeah.
All of these are books.
Oh, I don't think I knew that. I think that went over my head.
The reason for the season. It's the reason for the season, Morgan.
Yeah, Morgan, that's the theme. That's the theme. All of the movies for the next month are based on books by the same author.
Listen.
Anyway, so Morgan has not read the book. I'm going to predict that now. Just going to guess. Morgan has not read the book. I'm sure I had. I remember reading it. I don't remember it, like how different it is from what we got in the movie. But I love the movie, and you know.
Delightful. Well, yeah, I'm sure we'll discuss the differences a little bit. But first, Morgan, same question.
So, this movie came out when I was born.
96?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought you were younger than that. So, okay, cool.
I don't know if I'm offended or flattered, but
Both. Why not both?
So I remember watching this when I was probably like 5 or 6 on TV, obviously. I don't know. I feel like it was ABC Family that premiered it. But I love this movie. My sister always said that I looked a lot like Matilda because I had like brown hair and I was always in trouble for literally nothing. So, and I was like, oh, I'm like Matilda. And we completely thought we all had powers when we were 5 years old. And we would go to summer camp and play Matilda.
Oh my gosh. You know it's a classic when you like it becomes a game that's not even a game when you just like play Matilda. Like,
Yeah. I also
Brilliant.
did not know it was a play, so like that's also new to me.
That's a little bit more escapable than not
Well,
knowing.
okay. I knew James and the Giant. Wait, Willy Wonka is a book?
Yep.
Yes.
It's also and there's a sequel
I knew James
too.
and the Giant Peach, but like that was like but I felt like I read other Roald Dahl books.
I'm sure you have.
Not
I feel like
that have not been made into movies.
Really? Well, I think most of like his good books have become movies.
Yeah.
I'm literally looking it up right
Not
now.
a lot of his adult books have been turned into movies. And I think people forget that he wrote books for adults, which he did.
Witches. I read The Witches, or rather, my teacher read it to me.
The Witches, classic.
The Fantastic Mr. Fox. We read that.
Yeah.
Lamb to the Slaughter. I read that.
Oh, that's a good one. Well, I hope you didn't read that when you were a kid.
No, I think I read that.
It's like, whoa.
For those who don't know, Lamb to the Slaughter is a short story about a woman who one day decides she's going to kill her husband, so she uses a frozen leg of lamb to like clobber him to death, and then she invites her friends over and cooks the lamb as a dinner party. And then the cops show up. They're like, "Your husband's dead, but we can't find the murder weapon." She's like, "I don't know," but her friends ate it. So yeah, Roald Dahl, so messed up in such a brilliant way.
He's
fantastic.
He's a lot.
Yeah, no, love him. What do we have?
Okay, I think that's it though. So.
All right. Well, before we get to Alex, because it was his first time ever watching it, my turn. I too grew up with and adored this movie as a child. I distinctly remember seeing it in theaters and wanting to see it in theaters. This was a movie that I looked so forward to seeing, just like based on the trailers alone. I'm not even sure why. I think it's because by then I knew who Mara Wilson was from Mrs. Doubtfire, so I knew that I liked her as an actor. And I just think the trailer intrigued me because I was like, oh, this girl who's doing magic things. That's fun. But the movie had such a limited release. Like we had to go to the theater that had obscure movies to see it. I distinctly remember that. Like I know my mom's watching, Martha. Martha, we had to go to the theater where we also saw Hocus Pocus, another underappreciated classic that didn't get a big release in like the mainstream theater. We had to go to this tiny independent theater across the street from a mall to see it. And yeah, I was just like, I had Matilda fever. I had Roald Dahl fever, basically, because we also, around the same age, read Charlie and the Chocolate Factory in my grade, I think it was grade 3 or grade 4, plus James and the Giant Peach had just come out. So like I was indoctrinated into the Roald Dahl fan club at a very early age. And I did read the book, and I remember thinking the book is different. It's very different. And well, not very different. There are some differences that I thought were interesting choices, but yeah, I've always loved this movie. It has nostalgic factor, but I think revisiting it, it holds up, and it's such a well-made film in my humble
I
opinion.
disagree that it holds up, but that's a time for.
I think
We'll talk about it later.
So beautifully. I think it's so well directed. I love everything that Danny DeVito did with it. And I haven't seen many of his other films, but I've seen like elements of Throw Mama from the Train. And I saw similarities from what I remember, just in terms of how he really embraces dark comedy in such a beautiful way. And I think that works with this perfectly, because I think that's the key to Roald Dahl, is if you sanitize it, then it loses the point. And most Roald Dahl films, I think, do a really good job of not sanitizing too much, which we'll discuss. But Alex, let's hear your first impressions as someone who had never seen the movie. What did you think?
Well, we did touch on this already, but I'll just include a brief preface that that I was familiar with the musical prior to watching this movie today, right? And so yeah, did that musical in 2019, and then prior to that, I was also I had watched actually a professional production, Mirvish production in Toronto. Probably, I don't know if you'll remember when it was in Toronto. Was it 2018?
Yeah,
maybe
either 17 or 18. It was one of those 2 years.
Okay, so maybe I would. Yeah, I'm curious. I feel like it would have been before that. So maybe either there was a production that was before that I had seen, or maybe it was 2017 or 2018, and my memory's all skewed. But anyway, so that preface aside, yeah, the overall impression of the movie today was I enjoyed it. There were a lot of aspects of it about the movie in terms of the way it was shot, in terms of the writing, and in terms of the performances that I really enjoyed, and I thought did hold up, and I thought were of a like high quality. So yeah, I was and I was surprised by that to an extent. I figured, because I do like the musical so much, and I like Tim Minchin in particular, as a musician and as a lyricist, and so I was so used to the sort of wit and humor in the musical, and I was expecting the movie to be very geared towards children, and not simply because I was familiar with like the premise of Matilda, and I just assumed that a '96 film was going to be this typical child film, kids movie. But no, I thought that there was a lot in the movie that was like perfectly enjoyable by adults. Like it was not, and there was a lot of humor and a lot of both the way like the kids were talking and the way they like interacted with the Trunchbull. And anyway, there were a number of things about the movie that I enjoyed, and that I thought, yeah, we're definitely not like strictly speaking kids oriented. So yeah, no, I really enjoyed it, and I took notes.
Delightful.
Yeah.
Brilliant. All right. Well, I'm excited to hear your notes. Well, we'll get there. We'll get there. So then I guess let's get into specifics. What was one thing on this rewatch that stood out to you or stood out to everyone? We'll go one at a time, either for good reasons, bad reasons, just like one specific thing that you were watching thinking, oh, never noticed that before. Yeah. Who wants to go first? Morgan.
Okay.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's because I'm a teacher now or what, but all I kept thinking was, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. For both, not just Miss Trunchbull, but Miss Honey as well. If she were a teacher in today's schools, she would have been fired before she even stepped foot in that door.
Well, you mean you don't bring your students home for afternoon tea and unleash like all of your childhood trauma on them?
No, no. But also she like lets them go and do like random science experiments by themselves. Like there's no one watching the kids in the beginning of the movie. Like, what is that? That is like complete poppycock.
Nice.
And then like the whole cake eating scene, I was like, oh my God, what is this? Like that kid, like there's no feasible way. And then to put them in like that small space, I'm like, there's no feasible way these kids like actually fit in there. Like it just looks so small. So I just there were so many things. I was like that just stood out to me the most. Probably because like I've already been scared by the movie when I was like little. So like I'm over that.
I love that. I love that so much. No, you couldn't do that. But I also think that's kind of the point with Roald Dahl. It's just everything is so heightened to the point of absurdity, which is like the charm that I personally really like about it. But also, Miss Honey crosses some lines for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
But also like Matilda being home alone by herself at 2 years old and then just walking 10 blocks to go to the library, and the librarian doesn't think this is strange at all. And I'm like, this is like literally child abuse.
Oh, for
Why
sure.
has no one reported this?
Oh, for sure. It's completely child abuse.
Like, and then Miss Honey, like, she would have lost her license right then and there for not reporting the abuse going on at home. Like, I was just like, oh my God, this is so bad.
Yeah, no, but I almost get the vibe that I definitely do think that the absurdity of that is totally intentional. And I think part of it is the time period that both this movie was made and the book was written. But even taking that into consideration, like in air quote, real life, I feel in the 1980s, because the book was written in 88, movie came out in 96. I think both those time periods, like society was aware enough that had any of this actually been happening, like everyone would be in jail. All of like,
yeah.
They'd all be
I
in
mean,
jail.
I think it's part of one of those things where they're setting up the rules for the universe that you're existing in.
Mm-hmm.
And like, these are the parameters we're working in. These types of extremes can happen, and that's normal. So that what she's doing still stands out because it's still out of the norm. But
yeah,
the whole suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, and it also made no sense. Like, why would you take your child to a private school when you could just enroll them for free into public school where your other child goes? Like,
because they think she's a problem child because she thinks. And so like they actually think she's actually a big problem, not just like a kid. She's like a big, behavioral issue.
Yeah, no, it's a total inverse of, I guess, what, again, air quotes, the norm would be. But I think kind of hand in hand with that, one of the things that stood out to me on this rewatch was almost that exact issue of how come Trunchbull specifically in this school is able to get away with it. And I think it's playing into this whole theme of grown-ups don't believe kids. So like the kids could go home and tell their like not problematically abusive parents about everything that's happening, and the parents would probably just dismiss it as like you're overreacting because you're a child. I think that's the whole theme with this film and this story is that there's this weird power dynamic where people don't get as much respect if they're small or young or whatever. And it's just sort of in my brain an extension of that.
Yeah. Makes sense. I mean, it is like kind of feasible, but I mean, like, I don't know. That just like is what stuck out of my mind the most. I was just like everything about it. I was just like, why? What is that? Like, this makes no sense. Like, if you have the evidence to convict the dad, then just convict him. Why are you waiting forever? Like, I don't know.
Well, those cops also would be going to jail. Talking about all the people who need to go to jail. They
one of them really did.
Oh, did what?
Paul Rubens. Just saying.
He went to jail?
I think so. Or you got.
Oh, right. Indecent
I was
exposure.
just making a joke.
Yeah. Well, Jeanette, what was the thing that stood out to you on this rewatch?
I would say that on this rewatch, things like what Alex mentioned with like the way it was shot and the way it was just kind of like, I guess, thematics, like just the color palettes and everything, like everything really stood out as cohesive in my mind. And I don't think I'd really paid attention to that before in this movie. That and the kind of, again, to Morgan's point, like the whimsical, to me, this all just screams whimsy, like whenever you kind of ignore the norms and all of that. So it's like, this is like maybe one of the most whimsical movies I've seen in my life now that I have this much hindsight on it. So that was what really stood out to me, was like everything, the way it looked and what it was trying to do all fit hand in hand.
Well said. And Alex, one specific thing that stood out to you. I know it was your first time watching it, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a few things, but
you have to pick one right now.
yeah. I'll pick one, and that is so what stood out to me was one particular thing that stood out was Miss Honey and Matilda's relationship. Specifically the way it was shot when they were interacting. So like when Matilda's when Matilda's in the classroom and she multiplies 13 by 376 or whatever, and basically to me it, and I don't want to be too inappropriate, but it felt like Miss Honey was like too infatuated, and like it felt like she was like, the shots of the actress's face and like the music and everything, all the elements just made me feel like it was two lovers falling in love. And
Really?
Yeah.
That's what I thought too.
Really?
And it was funny to me. I wasn't disturbed by it. It just, I was amused and I was audibly laughing to myself during those. And it wasn't just that scene. It was also when they were at her home. Like there were 2 or 3 scenes that they had together where the camera just hits their faces and it goes back and forth between the two of them. And it's just like, I wrote down a quote actually. Oh yeah. Matilda, would you like to come over to my house this afternoon? I'd like that very much, Miss Honey. That exchange between them was very like, it was like Miss Honey was whispering some dark secret to Matilda. Matilda was whispering back her affirmation that she agreed. Like,
what?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's.
I guess you picked up on the connection they were trying to make. They were trying to make you feel a connection. It was really working.
I don't think that the movie and the direction and everything wanted me to have that particular take on those scenes. I agree with you, Jeanette, that they obviously they wanted to create this chemistry between the two characters.
They did too good of a job.
Yeah, so that particular aspect probably stood out the most to me, and I had a lot of fun with it. But yeah, I don't think that's quite what they wanted, that they were going for. So and it'd be curious to kind of see if it's like a 50-50 thing or you know, I don't know, or if it's like a of the time thing where if you haven't watched it in your childhood, you know, I don't know. I'd be curious. I'm curious to analyze and unpack that a bit more. It's more my.
I think it's. I've just always read that relationship as being one of affection and one of love, and I guess I can kind of see how it could be interpreted the way that you interpreted it, but then at the same time, I don't know. Like, I think it's done really nicely. I think one of the things that also stood out to me on this watch was just realizing how damaged Miss Honey actually is. Like, I always knew, obviously, because it's the whole point of the plot, but just Embeth Davis's performance specifically, like, you could just tell, like, this is someone who has so much love, but has grown up with so much hate that, I don't know, I think I understood the connection between her and Matilda more than I had watching it previously, like as a kid, especially. So just with that perspective, I didn't read it as creepy. I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is like this is the daughter that she wants to have, and like she gets to be the parental figure that she didn't have. But then I guess aesthetically, in terms of the choices that are being made, for sure, like it's still communicating visually love and affection between two people. So I just didn't choose to read into it.
I think it echoes a
creepily.
lot to the vulnerability of adults that they're trying to show in this. Like that's a kind of a vulnerable situation, you know, whenever you're like you start to care for someone in any way.
Mhm.
So
No, but I guess also within what's happening narratively, especially just the fact that you have a grown-up and a teacher like having a closer relationship with one of their students, and then even just crossing that boundary, like Morgan mentioned, of like come to my house and socialize with me under no supervision of anyone else. Like no matter who the characters are.
Go back to the what
flag.
you call it, the Dead Poet Society episode,
Yeah.
and rehash that again. Where are the boundaries?
Yeah, where are the what is teaching?
I can't. What is teaching? I don't know. Let me know when you figure it out.
Yes, exactly. Gosh, I love that. Let's just jump into the comments because we've been so engaged that I'm like, oh, all this amazing stuff is also happening in the comments. Mary says, I can't tell you how many tens of minutes I spent staring at my door, wishing I could close it with my eyes. LOL. As did Paula.
Mhm.
Oh, apparently the theater that I saw Matilda in was new. It had the best popcorn? I believe it. There we go.
Oh, now I want popcorn.
I know, me too.
I can't eat popcorn on air. That'd be.
Oh, I was never running around alone in the 90s. Apparently
I was
other
not
kids were.
Stranger danger. Stranger danger.
Disney Dado, it's always from the point of view of a child with Roald Dahl. Heightened using absurdity as a vehicle is a great way to describe it, Matt. Thank you. I have 2 degrees. Next, and more than any other of his works, this reminds me of Harry Potter. Yeah, for sure. Like when I first discovered Harry Potter, I think the reason I took to it so much was because it reminded me so much of Roald Dahl. And it's just such a classic structure, really, that I almost think Roald Dahl created that she who must not be named.
I liked your
jumped on as well.
analogy. I liked your analogy that you said before, though, about it being like Carrie.
Oh yeah, it's Carrie for kids. Roald Dahl totally saw Stephen King write something. It was like, I can just do this with kids.
That's funny.
It's the exact same thing. She taps into her anger, it gives her magic, and then she's like, let me make stuff move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I'll buy it.
Yeah. Yeah. Although one of the big differences in the book, this is going off track, but it's something I want to discuss anyway. One of the big differences in the book is that she loses her magic at the very end, like after the whole encounter with Trunchbull. Does that happen in the musical, Alex? I can't remember.
Yeah, it does happen in the musical. She loses her powers after she's achieved what she wants to achieve.
Yeah. And then in this, like, she keeps them and it just becomes a normal part of her life. Whereas, like, I'm too lazy to get the book for story time. Let me just.
Yeah. Which they pointed out earlier in the movie. I was going to say that was a contradiction that I did notice. And as we were sitting here talking about it, is that they say in the movie that she needed, like, that anger to do it. But then, like, I don't know. Is it like Monsters, Inc., where, like, it was screams and now it's laughs? Like, and it just achieves the same thing. Was it the happiness that filled it back up? I'm like,
well, I think they said in the movie that she needed the anger to unlock it, and then once it's been unlocked, she like learned how to control it. So she didn't
that's true. Yeah, because she was just making cereal and all that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and in the book, from what I remember, I don't remember if it specifically said anger, but I remember when it was describing how she made things move, it was more a focus issue. And the quote I remember is that it said she looked at something and then she visualized like thousands of little hands like grabbing the thing and bringing it to her. So
that would be terrifying.
Oh yeah. Well,
imagine if they had tried to like work that in visually.
The movie, and we just saw all these little baby hands.
Tiny.
Oh my God, it'd be terrifying.
God.
No, but I do feel like the movie. And I'd have to reread the book because it's been probably 15-ish years. No, not even 15. Like I would say 20 years almost since I actually did read the book.
Only 15?
Yeah, no. Maybe even longer, 25. Basically when the movie came out. So yeah, like 25 years since I read the book. Wow. But I almost suspect that this movie integrated that element of the anger is what helps her unlock it. Because I do think the book, it was more about her just focusing herself.
Yeah.
and her intelligence. But how do we think the story changes with her getting to keep the magic at the end versus the original intent, which was that she has it for as long as she needs it, then it goes away? How's that change things?
I mean, oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I was going to say, I don't know that it really, I mean, if it still stays the end of the story, then I don't know what it really changes as far as the story, but the lesson that children are to learn from it changes. So, like, you know, if she loses it, then it's like I don't know, maybe like you're going to be able to get through anything. I feel like it's slightly more empowering for her not to lose it. As far as like the message that we're sending children, like you can get through something and then take those skills you learned in hard times and make
it's like
them...
a scar. It's kind of like a scar. Like you have that power because you went through like this terrible situation, and even though you went through it, that scar is always going to be with you, but you can look at it in a different light now.
Yeah, I think there's multiple sort of things that her powers can symbolize. So and I never, thoroughly analyzed it, but like just now I've thought about like destiny is one of them, where if she loses her powers, my mind tends to think, oh, okay, was she like, is it a destiny thing where she's fated to, have her powers only for a certain period, and then once she's achieved the prophecy, she's fated to lose them? The other thing that comes to mind is that her powers, kind of like what you were saying, Morgan, about the scar, where her powers represent this sort of survival instinct where she's been traumatized, and so she develops these powers to help her survive in her situation. And then her losing her powers would then symbolize or signify that she's over her trauma. She no longer requires these abilities to survive, and so by losing them, the narrative tells us that she's going to be okay. She's not going to need to rely on these magical powers anymore, and so we can rest easy knowing that she's going to be good from now on. I think there's multiple things like that where you can you could interpret her powers as symbolizing multiple different things like that. And I agree with you, Jeanette, that having her powers to me feels more empowering, like after the story, than her losing them. Even in the movie, they, at the very end, the narrator, which is Danny DeVito.
I know. It's a weird choice.
But the narrator says, I forget the exact quote, but he basically says, she never used her powers again, except for sometimes, like this. And like it's something to that effect. He's like, and she never had to do them again. Maybe once in a while. And that's when she pulls out the book from the bookshelf.
For a parlor trick.
So
birthday.
the implication. So from that narration, to me, the way I interpreted it was like, okay, like she's not going to be, pretending that she's the, dead spirit tormenting people and stuff. She's not going to go all carry on, as she may occasionally feed herself, cereal or whatever. But so I felt like it kind of was the best of both worlds, where like on the one hand, she gets to keep her powers, so we don't have to deal with any kind of like weird in-universe rules. And on the other hand, it's not like she's going to go on and become Superwoman, similar to like the book or source material and the musical. She no longer needs the full brunt of her, telekinetic abilities.
And I think, I don't know if in the book they said it, Matt, like you and Jeanette would know better than I did, because I didn't read the book clearly. But does it say that like she uses more than 90% of her brain?
I wrote down that part.
Yeah, because in the movie it says in the very beginning, like, humans only use like less than 25% of our brain. And in the 90s it was like a big push for science. Like telekinesis and the brain was like a huge study point in the 90s, and people started thinking like, oh, if you could push your mind past thinking in only that using only 25% of your brain, that you could have telekinesis.
I feel
And
like the percent that you don't use is keeping you alive by telling your body to function. Like that's my theory.
Well, no,
but you're using that point.
yeah, so that's a myth. So it's a common stereotype or whatever that, and like movies like Limitless and Lucy and stuff are based on, or not Lucy, but the ones that are unlocking the brain's potential. But what the common stereotype is that, yeah, like, and the movie doesn't, I don't think the movie gives a percentage. I think the movie, what it says, the line is like, humans are, like, it's understood that humans only use a small amount or a small percentage of their brain. Yeah. And imagine if they could unlock it. And you're exactly right. They're they're definitely tapping into that sort of like, full brain power thing. But not that I'm a neuroscientist, but from my understanding is that's a misconception drawn from the idea that at any one point in time, there are only certain parts of the brain are active, but there aren't parts of the brain that are like, it's not like only 20% of your brain is active,
turned on.
Exactly.
No, but that's what I was like trying to say, like that's what they thought back
then. Or that was, I mean, I don't know if like neuroscientists ever thought that, but that was definitely a mainstream idea.
And like the book, again, I don't remember specifics, but I was reading teachers' study guides for the book this afternoon to prep for this, and there's one quote where it doesn't specifically say like humans only use a certain percentage of their brain, but when Matilda loses the magic at the end, apparently Miss Honey says maybe it's because now you're doing like schoolwork for a higher level, so you're more focused on that instead of having your brain open to being able to do all those other things. So like the implication I think is still there that she's like, that.
Because I kind of thought she got her powers because she's so smart and she uses her brain so much.
Oh, I definitely think that's the implication, no matter what.
And then that would make sense as to why she keeps her powers, because that's how they kind of like set it up. And obviously she's not going to get dumber just because she has a family now that cares about her. So I don't know.
Let's jump into the comments. Rosie is in the house. Watched this for the first time last week. It's way more intense than I knew or imagined. Lots of fun. She's so bright and unapologetic, able to handle the burden of being in a crass, unloving family by standing up for herself no matter what. She understands life's not fair, and sometimes you have to be a little bit naughty. Do. Rosie's seen the musical. So let's talk about the actual film itself, just like as a movie. What do we think about how it's made as a movie? Because I think it's brilliantly directed, as I touched on. I think Danny DeVito should direct more things. Well, I mean, he's near the end of his career, but I wish he had directed more things because like it's just so good. And I think it's such a fascinating choice to switch it to America instead of England. Someone else I discussed this with on a podcast a year or two ago, she said that she feels the story makes more sense in America than in England. And so I guess that's the first thing I want to talk about. How do we feel the setting works with what's going on? Do we think there is a difference between having the Wormwoods be an American family versus a British family? What are the thoughts there?
Yeah, I think that especially for the time period, there was kind of like this whole pushback against these sorts of households that I feel like were very accepted for like the 70s and 80s, of these like not directly abusive, but neglectfully abusive households. And like that was okay for a while. And I think like in America, there was the big push against that in the 90s. And the imagery, just specifically at this time in the 90s, when there was this big clattering of like 50s mod design and like modern design and these animal prints and like all of this was in. So like it all totally made sense.
Yes.
It all made sense because it did all exist in this country at that time. So like none of it felt forced. That was another thing I did notice. Like all the scene setting was fantastic. Like whoever chose the carpet in that house has been in a number of houses that look like that, because I personally was like, oh yeah, geez, I forgot about houses like that. Like, yeah, that carpet just like looked lived in. So it was, I thought the scene setting, the set design, the colors, like the colors really popped. I don't know if it's because I was watching it on a like an iPad, and maybe I remember like what the VHS looked like, but it was just really sharp, and all the angles they come at people, it just makes it look really whimsical and really playful.
Well said. Alex, what do you think, since you've like experienced this as a British story within the musical? Like, what do you how do you think it operates differently, if at all, in the lens of British culture versus American?
So the only, from my, like, I'm not you know, plugged into either American pop culture or British pop culture in terms of, and specifically the pop culture that gave birth to the musical. So my point there is that from my perspective, the musical isn't particularly British. The only thing that's British about it for me is the fact that Tim Minchin like wrote the music and lyrics. And I should actually be careful with there. I don't actually know I'm assuming he wrote the music and lyrics because he's a musician and known to compose and to write lyrics. But I don't know if he also like wrote the book essentially and the dialogue, the lines or whatnot, the libretto. But I'm assuming he wrote most or was involved in most of it, if not all of it. Anyway, so it's now the humor. So the humor in the musical is definitely more like British than typically American in terms of how direct and dry it can be and that kind of a thing. But I think that's kind of present in the movie as well to an extent. Like the movie doesn't feel particularly British in terms of its humor, but the absurdity and the way the movie makes the absurdity seem so believable and so not absurd, and like kind of to that point that sort of the point of like that Morgan was making in terms of how ridiculous and unrealistic things were, and then how, you know, like you and Jeanette were saying, well, like whatever the idea of suspension of disbelief. To me, this movie, like that's one of the pros of this movie is that it makes this whimsical, fantastical story actually seem not that way. Like I so many crazy things are happening, but like I just accepted it, and I think that's a testament to the way the movie sort of introduces the universe and established those parameters and maintained all that throughout. But yeah, so British versus American, and also in the musical, there's nothing about the characters or the environment. Like Matilda goes to a classroom, and Matilda goes to the library, but there's nothing about her parents or the characters or Miss Honey or anything that are British. Like in the production that I did in Niagara Falls, did anybody have nobody really had a British accent. There was a pseudo British accent.
Didn't do the accents?
Well, there was a pseudo British accent coming from Matilda, and now keep in mind these are like legitimately young girls who weren't necessarily the most apt at adorning accents that weren't their own. But yeah, otherwise, the parents did not have British accents. They had like New York accents and stuff, or whatever, American accents.
I would have had a British accent.
No, I played the father and the doctor and Rodolfo, so none of those characters. Rodolfo certainly didn't have a British accent, and then otherwise, nobody had. So overall, and then the production that I saw in Mirvish, actually in Toronto, I don't remember, but Trunchbull would have had an accent, and she did in the film, right? Even in the '96 movie, she had a British accent.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I don't know. So on that particular point of American versus British, I didn't notice anything stand out in terms of the movie versus the musical, and I couldn't say how the movie would have been different if they decided to keep it all British. I'm not familiar with the how different pop culture and home life was in the 90s in the UK versus the US.
I just picture the Wormwoods would have been the Dursleys, essentially.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what and that's you made that point before, right? So like,
well, not that specific point, but
but it's the Harry Potter connection. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Fun. So now that I've mentioned the Wormwoods, let's talk about the cast, because I love the cast, and I feel like this movie is perfectly cast across the board for everybody. So I want to know who everyone's favorite performer was, or favorite performance in the film, and why.
So I will say, as far as actors and actresses, one thing I did realize was that Beth Davis was in Army of Darkness and Bicentennial Man. And
Yes.
those are two movies that I love a lot. And I just had never put those two together. So yeah, anyway, that was cool to figure out. That said, when I was a kid, Miss Honey I had a perfectly fine home life. I had a very good home life. So not to say like, oh, I wanted the same thing to happen to me, but like Miss Honey was like a superhero to me. I was like, that's the coolest person ever. And around the same time, I had a teacher at school, Miss Matthews, who like slightly resembled and also acted like Miss Honey. And so like, I just thought that it was the best thing ever. And so when I was a kid, I was drawn to her. As an adult, it's really hard to ignore how good of an actress Mara Wilson is at that age, but also just Danny DeVito is kind of always Danny DeVito, and he's like amazing. So I think he's like any scene he's in, he's kind of the bold actor. So
I still can't get over how perfect both him and Rhea Perlman are as the Wormwoods, especially coupled with the fact that they were married in real life
very
at the time.
Recently.
Yeah, and I think they're still basically like they're not living together, but I'm invested in their relationship.
Right, so I know.
It sounds like they're still getting
love
along.
Each other.
Like,
Shut
up.
up.
They've come up with a living arrangement that is more healthy, I think, for both of them. But I think they're still like committed to each other, if not living in the same house. So that makes me happy because I adore them. But they're just both as actors individually so perfect for their respective roles. But the fact that they have such good chemistry together.
Yeah.
And like a thing that I've noticed revisiting the film as an adult is appreciating Mrs. Wormwood more than I used to, because I always thought that they were kind of an abusive duo, but Mrs. Wormwood, at least how Rhea Perlman plays her, she's more just oblivious, like hilariously oblivious to everything that's happening, which I think softens the blow a little bit too and makes it a little bit more humane. And I think she brings in the humor in a place where it's sorely needed, just because Mr. Wormwood is so awful to Matilda that you have her, she's just oblivious to everything that's happening. And I think she's so funny.
Yeah.
With her bingo. Love it. Morgan, who's your favorite?
So my favorite's Matilda, just because I don't know, I have a soft spot for it. And then my second favorite is actually Miss Trunchbull.
Yes.
I love her. I don't love her, obviously. She haunted my nightmares for some time when I was young. And I really thought that that's what school was for like a considerable amount of time of my but I really liked her. I thought she played the role really well, and she really committed, which I mean, I gotta give it to her. Like some of the jokes she makes, I'm like, ooh, I don't know that you would want to make like that. That takes some guts. Like she says something, she basically calls herself that, and I'm like, woo, you go, girl, because a lot of actresses wouldn't even do that nowadays. So
I adore her and her performance, and I also just love that they got somebody who wasn't super high profile as an actor. Like even now, the only thing I can think of that she's done outside of this is Harry Potter 3. But aside, she's Aunt Marge at the beginning.
Oh my god,
she's the one that
makes so much sense.
Yeah. But like she's just so good. And I remember reading an interview with her years later, probably around the 25th anniversary, so like 2 or 3-ish years ago. No, that was last year. So yeah, saying that her whole thing was that she felt like Miss Trunchbull was probably like a steroid addict. And so then tapping into that, she made all these other choices where she was like, she's only eating raw meat. So that's like affecting her mood and her metabolism in this way. And like she made such smart acting choices that I think makes it such a stronger performance, because this is a role that would be so easy to just gloss over and just be a villain.
Just be mean. Yeah.
And just be mean. Yeah.
Yeah. And the makeup design on her, whoever did her sweat, was
Yes.
really perfect at what they do for a living, because it takes a lot to be that sweaty and not just look like you literally were just spritzed with a water bottle,
Mhm.
but you look like you're really sweaty. So I thought that was a nice touch.
Wait, who is she in Call the Midwife?
I've
have
never
been
seen Call the
watching that.
Midwife.
I am like obsessed with it. Is she Phyllis? That would make so much sense.
Who's Phyllis?
Phyllis, oh my gosh, you have to watch Call the Midwife. It's so good. Although, if you're not really into like watching people give birth every episode, you may be a bit. Oh, she's Sister Evangelina. Oh my gosh, that's so good. I loved her. I cried. I cried many tears for Sister Evangelina. I'm not even kidding you. Like sobbing.
No spoilers. Maybe I'll watch it because after this movie, I want to see more Pam Ferris because she's so good.
She's so good.
She's so good. Alex, who was your favorite actor in this movie?
Well, I have a joke answer and a real answer.
Oh, give us both.
I will.
No, wait. Tell us both people and let us guess who's the joke and who's the real.
All right. Although that won't be a challenge, but all right. So one of my answers is Trunchbull. And actually, just as a quick aside on that, you were just mentioning like researching the actress and how she prepared for the role and such, and that mention of steroids actually relates to something that I noted in the film, which was how in both instances where Trunchbull, where Matilda conjures the dead spirit to scare Miss Trunchbull, so at her house and in the classroom, in both instances Trunchbull initially reacts with fear, but then goes towards like anger or vengeance. And I thought that was very notable because I was like, she's established as being this as having like a fear of being superstitious, and when she's in her house and everything's happening, you see her terror build until she realizes it's Magnus and then runs out of the house. But then she runs out of the house and she finds that ribbon, and then she immediately latches on to this maniacal, ooh, I'm gonna tear into a kid and rip her limb from limb. And then in the classroom, similarly, at first she reads the chalkboard, and that spells out what the Magnus's terms, and she gets attacked by the erasers and faints, and then she I don't know if she's supposed to be faking at that point or if she just kind of wakes up, and because the way the shot goes is it closes up on her eyes closed, and then she like peeks one eye open and then tries to attack, like grabs onto a kid or whatever. But the point is I thought that was very interesting. I was that her character, that the fear was not enough to vanquish Trunchbull. Whereas in the musical, for example, it is. The musical, Trunchbull is defeated by Matilda's summoning the chalkboard phenomenon, and that basically drives Trunchbull away and makes her give Miss Honey everything that Magnus demanded. But anyway, yeah, really like Trunchbull. And then the other answer is the baby Matilda at the beginning of the movie. Specifically because baby Matilda has some really long stares. That baby's eyes are in my experience,
literal baby Matilda.
Yeah, literal baby Matilda.
4-year-old Matilda.
No, baby, newborn Matilda. Her eyes are like lasers.
That scene whenever they're zooming in on her in the car, and I'm like, that baby's got like the closest thing to a Dirty Harry stare I have ever seen on a baby.
Yeah,
that baby's like,
I'm like,
I hate you people.
Yeah, and then but it's also perfectly timed at like there's a camera zoom out, and then the baby's eyes start going wild.
That
like the baby's
scene,
eyes would go.
So it's so funny you bring up the baby, and I forgot this, but when I was watching that scene this time, I was like, this is an awfully Quentin Tarantino-esque shot right now. This zooming in on this baby, like, I'm gonna get you guys.
This is an adult film for sure. For sure.
Nick's here. Hi, Nick.
Hi, Nick.
Brilliant. Okay. Now, I know Jeanette has her We Like Theme Parks shortly-ish, so I want to jump to the game earlier than usual. Then we'll come back to discussing, because there's more to discuss, but also I don't want Jeanette to miss the game.
Oh, you're so You're so nice. I'm gonna get
I'm
paper.
very
Is
proud
it
of
a
I'm very
paper
proud of
game?
this It is a paper game.
It's a
And
paper
it's a game where it's a different answer for everything. So have lots of paper ready.
Okay. Different.
I know
answer.
who's missed the games. I know I have.
I like
I
games.
very much have. That's...
This is where I have to show you, like, show the camera my thing.
Yeah.
I mean, not my thing. Let's be
No, please don't.
paper.
Hold on, I made my camera go all wonky. Whoa, hello.
Okay, so I pulled up a list of books that Matilda reads based on the original book. Like Roald Dahl apparently at some point lists
There you
every
go.
novel that Matilda read before she was like 5.
Some of the novels are mentioned in the movie and shown.
Some of them are mentioned in the movie. So how the game is going to work is I am going to read you a quote. This quote is the opening line of one of the books that Matilda read.
Lol.
Not necessarily in this movie, but in the book.
Okay.
So I will read you and this is the very first line of classic literature. Now, you need to tell me the name of the book and the author.
Oh wow.
You'll get a
I'm
point
gonna
for
be
each.
terrible at this. I don't read.
You'll get a point for each. So you can
That's-
get up to 2 points per question. And these are all
Silly.
like 90% of these are
Let's clarify.
Well-
Morgan means she doesn't read, not that she can't read.
No, I choose
Okay.
not to read.
so all of these are titles that you will have heard of. So don't worry, it's not a
right.
case of like
Okay.
I have no frame of reference for that.
If you say so.
I mean, maybe we'll find out together. So here we go. Feel free to play along in the chat as well. Okay.
I'm sure you'll get more points than me.
And when in doubt, just guess. Here we go. The first one. When Mary Lennox was sent to Misselthwaite Manor to live with her uncle, everybody said she was the most disagreeable looking child ever seen.
Oh,
What?
Lord.
Oh, I thought this was an easy one. Yes. We all had different childhoods. When Mary Lennox was sent to Misselthwaite Manor to live with her uncle, everybody said she was the most disagreeable looking child ever seen.
Let's clarify. I read Animorphs and Anne Rice. So that's
All
what
right.
I read.
I got my answer.
Yeah.
Okay. Imagine if Matilda just like binge read all of Animorphs. That'd be hilarious. And then her power is just turning into an animal.
Yes, I'm there.
Okay, answers 3, 2, 1.
I don't know what you.
Little Women,
see.
Oh my god.
My Fair Lady by Dickens, Johnny P. Jonas.
Oh, and you notice I didn't even bother to
Judy
write
B.
who wrote it.
None of
Judy
you are
the Gem-
correct.
Which wasn't even written when this came.
Wasn't even written by a Dickens.
Oh wait, Rosie got a point. It's from The Secret Garden.
That's
by
why that's
Frances
familiar to
Hodgson
me.
Burnett.
There you go.
See, Alex, I thought you'd get it. We listened to
Mary
the
Lennox
musical.
was familiar, but I didn't know from where.
Yo, that's not fair. He has a leg up.
Yeah,
Well, you still didn't get
my
the point.
point.
Okay, next. Yeah, well, this is probably the hardest one in the game. Here we go. In that pleasant district of Merry England, which is watered by the River Don, there extended in ancient times a large forest, covering the greater part of the beautiful hills and valleys which lie between Sheffield and the pleasant town of Doncaster.
Okay.
And I will say, this is a book that is featured in the Matilda film pretty prominently.
So this is all from the book?
Was that?
Matt,
Oh,
No, no.
Oh yeah. This is
Oh,
primarily he already said
oh.
that it's all sourced from the
Hold on.
book, but
think I know
which
one it is.
incidentally is
No, but
also-
this specific book for this clue is a book
Yeah.
that is in the Matilda movie,
I
and
don't
it's
know
like
the
a
author.
prominent book
yeah.
Yeah.
in the movie.
But otherwise, we're
Okay.
yeah.
Like
You-
they
you
they
screwed
show
up.
they show the cover of the book,
Yeah. I don't
Quite
know
a
the
bit.
author
Yeah.
at all.
and I think I'm not positive. I think it's the book that Mr. Wormwood like tears apart before she makes the TV explode.
Oh wait,
Oh,
I can
crap.
remember that book.
Maybe it's not. I can't.
It's not that one
Okay.
because the opening line to that one I would know.
Okay.
Okay, let's go. 3, 2, 1. Wind in the Willows, Tale of Two Cities, The Hobbit, Moby Dick. Which one? Which one, Morgan?
Moby Dick?
No, we're looking for Ivanhoe.
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 I remember
by
seeing
Sir
that
Walter
now.
Scott.
That
We're
is
looking
in
Oh,
for
I thought that was the
Ivanhoe.
name of the author.
No, Ivanhoe's the book by
Yeah.
Sir Walter Scott.
Why'd you ask if neither was right?
I don't know. To establish rules. Without rules, we have nothing. Yoda, you were close.
That was my guess.
You were-
That was
it's
I
in
was
the
gonna
same
write
vein.
that, and then whenever you said that it was prominently displayed, I was like, oh, it's
Yeah, no, I think that's the book that he tears.
I don't
up.
think
no,
that's
Wind in
when
the
he
Willows
tears
is the
up,
one that
but-
she leaves, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Moby Dick is what he tears up.
Oh, he
Yeah.
tears up
But-
Moby Dick. You're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Ivanhoe.
what
But
I
Ivan-
was like.
She does, yeah. There's a scene where she's reading Ivanhoe.
Yeah, and they show
It-
the cover, and he's a knight.
Yeah.
No, you're right. He tears up Moby Dick.
It's
Oh.
I think they zoom
it's
in
filthy.
on the like pages of Ivanhoe, like on certain lead.
I
Like,
never
Yes,
writing.
when she's reading. That's it.
yeah.
Okay, next. It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. I thought it was a
This
good
is
wife,
not
of a
an
wife.
age-appropriate book for her to be reading.
I know, but a lot of the stuff Matilda read
Right.
wasn't age appropriate.
Ah,
But she finished all the books with pictures.
goodness gracious.
I mean, I can't get over that if like 5 or 6-year-old was reading Moby Dick by Herman Melville.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Imagine if this
I
was
was
the
reading
open-
Moby Dick when I was like 10,
Oh, well, good for you. I still haven't read it.
but it was
Imagine
like
if
a
this was the
junior version.
opening line to Moby Dick. If Moby Dick opened with, "It is a universally accepted truth that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife."
Maybe one of us will imagine that.
Maybe. Let's see your answers in 3, 2, 1. Beauty and the Beast, question mark. Yoda, you're close. It's Pride and Prejudice.
Oh.
If anyone could tell me who wrote Pride and Prejudice, you'll get a point because no one has
Jane
any
Eyre.
points yet. Jane Eyre's a novel by, I think, Emily Bronte or Charlotte Bronte, one of the Brontes.
So it's not that one. It's an Emily Dickinson.
No, it's not Emily Dickinson.
Nope.
Alex,
I don't know. I really thought Jane Eyre was an author.
you're close. You're very close, Morgan.
It's a Jane. It's a
Oh,
Jane.
wait, did the same person write it?
Not the same person that wrote Jane Eyre. No.
Oh, dang it. Is
Yeah,
it Jane?
Okay, Rosie gets a point. It's
Yeah, I was
Jane
gonna
Austen.
say-
Austen.
Oh, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I know.
Dang it.
Next. Okay, I hope someone gets this one. 'Cause
Uh-huh.
this book is very close
Are
to
we
me.
all at 0?
Yep, here we go.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm not losing terribly.
Once there were 4 children whose names were Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy.
I know that one.
Once there were 4 children whose names were Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy.
I don't know if the author's
I
right.
love these
though.
comments. Did she watch Condor? Imagine Matilda watching Condor Man.
Good Lord.
She wouldn't watch it. She doesn't watch TV.
Okay.
Oh, that's true. All right, let's see our answers in 3, 2, 1. The Three Musketeers, no. Swiss Family Robinson, no. But yes, Morgan, you got 1 point.
What is it?
The Lion, the
Lion,
Witch, and the Wardrobe
Oh,
That's where I know
yeah.
Edmund from.
by C.S. Lewis.
Yeah.
So Lewis. Okay, I knew there.
If I'd have known it was that book, I would have actually gotten the author. That's the first one I've known the author.
Yeah, I was gonna say tell us the author, but I just said it, so never mind.
It
Yeah,
was,
no,
you did.
that was a Battle of the Books question when I was actually on Battle of the Books in 6th grade, and we actually won. No thanks
God.
to me.
Next, call me Ishmael. Some years ago, never mind how long precisely, having little or no money in my purse and nothing particular to interest me on shore, I thought I would sail about a little and see the watery part of the world.
If this is a trick one, I'm gonna be very upset.
What's his name?
How could that be a trick?
I don't know. Like,
It's a quote
I
from a
just-
book.
Well, you know, if my sister was here, she'd be on this. She's like on book talk all the time. She reads everything.
I believe it. All right, I think Jeanette's gonna get this. I saw the light bulb click in her eyes. Let's go. 3, 2, 1. Yes, it's Moby Dick by Herman Melville. Good job, everyone.
And just like that, me and Jeanette are tied.
Actually, all three of you are tied now with 2
Ah!
points each.
Because we all got the Moby Dick one.
Sure, sailing. It's got to be.
Yes, except Morgan didn't have the authors, so now her 1 point lead is tied up. Next,
Dang it.
my father's name being Pirip, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, and my Christian name being Philip, my infant tongue could make of both names nothing longer or more explicit than Pip. So I called myself Pip and came to be called Pip.
Now you got me. This one I read.
Yes.
I don't know the author. And I don't even know if this is the name of the book. I'm just taking a wild guess.
Believe in you all.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Pippins. No. Pippi Longstocking. Jeanette's got it. It's Great Expectations by Doll's Chickens.
Charles Chicken.
You mean if I would have put Dickens, I might have gotten a point?
Yes.
What's this? Jeanette has to go from this high-level literature
Stop
discussion
it.
to
We
what-
are not doing hot
talking
dogs.
at Disney.
We're talking about which rides make you barf. Way more high class, okay? So
It's not Guardians, in my opinion.
it's not Guardian. And that's not a Universal. They could never.
Oh, you're doing Universal, not.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, because we're talking Halloween Horror Nights. Okay, sorry. I just got really excited.
I'm excited to hear it. Next, or watch it because it's right on. It's on right after this. I keep on trying. Like this is probably an off-camera discussion, but whatever. We're here now. Every time I do one of these, and there's a We Like Theme Parks after, I'm like, I want to do the thing where my live stream redirects, but then it's like you need permission from the other channel. So, like, we should do that.
Let's do
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But I keep forgetting, so I just said it on air, so one of us will remember. Next,
We will.
Mr. Jones of the Manor Farm had locked the hen houses for the night, but was too drunk to remember to shut the pop holes.
Oh my gosh, I know this one. I read this one.
Really?
I don't. Yes, it was mandatory, but I forget.
Mr. Jones of the Manor Farm had locked the hen houses for the night, but was too drunk to remember to shut the pop holes.
Is this a thing?
As soon as you say it, I'm gonna know it, but I'm just gonna.
All right, and answers in 3, 2, 1.
This is
Yeah,
okay.
that's what it is. That's what it is.
Alex, you got it without
Of course
sarcasm
I got
or
it.
anything. What do you mean? Of course you got it.
Because
Because-
George Orwell is my fetish.
Oh, good to know. Really? Okay.
I knew it was like something farm, but I.
Wait, Morgan, what did you say? I didn't
I
see
said
it.
farmhouse.
Oh,
So
farmhouse.
yeah, I did Animal Farm, and I questioned myself. I almost said Animal House. I was like, nope, that's Belushi. Not
Animal Farm.
Orwell.
It's Animal Farm. Orwell, 1984. 1984. Well.
Yeah. We read Lord of the Flies,
so
and then
smart.
we had to compare it to Animal Farm.
Oh, Lord of the Flies. Fries?
Yeah,
I want
right.
fries now. Lord of the Flies, like, scarred me. I don't even know why.
We had to watch the movie too.
Which
it was
one?
like
The black and
right.
white or the 90s one?
The black and white.
The black and white was okay. I watched the more recent one before they showed us the black and white one because I just wanted to watch a movie of it, like after having read the book, because that was my reward for myself. And I didn't realize I was renting the more modern one, and it did not hold back on the violence. And I distinctly remember the scene where they stab the kid. I can't remember his name, but with all the
Piggy.
spikes. Yeah, that's the one. And it's a lot more gruesome in the more recent film, because of course it is. Because and that has always stuck with me. And
Or maybe we did
yeah.
watch maybe we watched that one.
Obviously, Lord of the Flies is not one of these because we've.
Lord of the Fries. Next. To the red country and part of the gray country of Oklahoma, the last rains came gently, and they did not cut the scarred earth.
Oh, maybe. Like I know anything.
Disney Dado, you are Lord of the Fries. It's a worthy title.
I should
Although I
know
had
who
fries
wrote
today.
But
this.
has he gone
And I
to
don't.
the fry booth at Epcot?
We
Oh,
haven't
with all
yet,
the-
but we will.
With the fry flight, with all the different
Yes,
fries.
I have ordered all the fries.
I want a fry flight with a beer flight that is like perfect. I think they might have a beer flight
Okay.
there. Let me-
Don't look in the chat because someone got it and I'm very impressed.
Not looking.
Yoda, what kind of things do you know? Yeah, Yoda got it. Okay, let's see our answers in 3, 2, 1. Little Women. Does that say American Dickens?
This is America.
Oh, America, I know. It is Grapes of Wrath. But, oh, good job, Jeanette.
Is it Steinbeck? I guessed.
By John
Yeah.
Steinbeck. Well
I know
done.
the period. I just don't know the book
Right.
specifically.
Jeanette, are you Yoda for Mark?
I wish that I was that cool. No.
I didn't think anyone would get that one. I'm so well done to the two of you. Next. The stranger came early in February, one wintry day, through a biting wind and a driving snow, the last snowfall of the year. Over the dawn, walking from the Bramblehurst railway station and carrying a little black portmanteau in his thickly gloved hand.
What?
I don't want to read it again. It's so wordy.
No, don't read it again.
Okay.
I really don't have a
I
single
don't
clue
have-
why I think it's this, but
I mean, I could give I could give a clue. Do we want a clue? Because this is a hard one.
No, I think I got it.
Okay.
can I just ask, is there a movie of this book?
Yes, there is.
Okay, cool. I think I got it.
Okay, let's see. 3, 2, 1. Maltese Falcon. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by Gene Wilder. Morgan.
I don't have one.
We were looking for The Invisible Man by H.G. Wells.
Okay.
Invisible Man by H.G. Wells. All right, final question of the regular round. The mole had been working very hard all the morning, spring cleaning his little home. The mole had been working very hard all the morning, spring cleaning his little home.
Is this a trick?
No, it's a book.
It's finally a children's book sounding passage, and you're
I
like,
know.
is
That's
this
why
what a
I'm like, is this like real? Am I gonna get this wrong though?
Oh my gosh.
Probably.
Wait, no, I've had Lion Witch in the Wardrobe was a children's book.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, yeah, that's true.
And so
I
is
got
Secret
that one.
Garden. Love Secret
Is
Garden.
it? Oh, I don't know. I never
Yeah. Oh,
I'm
it's so
surprised
good.
no one else got that. That's a Disney movie. Like, come on.
Which
people.
one? Secret Garden?
I wish
No.
I knew.
The
Oh,
Lion,
Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, right.
Narnia.
I wish I
Is the
knew
old Lion Witch in the
this
Wardrobe Disney
author.
film?
Yeah.
Not the old,
OG?
not the
like it was
Not
like
the
a BBC
original.
thing?
80s is BBC, but the one that came out
Yeah.
in like 2003,
Yeah,
2004,
Morgan,
that's
get
good.
on the BBC level.
Oh, I didn't even know there was a second one. Okay. Like,
Oh,
I,
Morgan, the
that's
BBC
OG
one is
one.
so good. The BBC one has full-sized humans in beaver costumes.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
a lion
Hilarious.
costume thing.
It's like the old Winnie the Pooh show where they were all in costumes
Yes.
instead of
Oh,
puppets.
ew,
so
no.
good.
No,
I need the CGI.
Turkish
CGI
delight.
is so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, although the White Witch from the BBC one, from what I recall, is legitimately quite good and terrifying.
I don't know. I thought that one.
I mean Tilda Swinton,
Yeah.
a worthy contemporary. All right, let's see our answers in 3, 2, 1.
In the Willows.
Pooh,
There was supposed to be an S there.
Groundhog Day by Bill Murray. It is Wind in the Willows.
Oh, that's not it. I've never heard of that.
It
I have
was
no
in
idea.
Matilda. It's the
Yeah.
book that Miss Honey leaves for her.
And if, well,
That's not
is
a
it?
children's
Isn't that
book.
where Mr. Toad comes from?
Yeah.
That Wind in the Willows? Yeah.
Watership Down. Oh, if
Not
only.
a children.
All right, so our current point tally. Jeanette has 8. Morgan has 2. Alex has 4. How many points do we want to wager?
How
All
many do
of
I
them.
have? I'm going to say all of them. I just want to.
So yeah, 8. Alex has 4. Morgan has 2.
All of them.
Okay. Now again,
Wait. I'll wager 3.
3. Okay. Now the way that this game will work, it's the same format. I'll read you a quote. If you could tell me the name of the book that the quote is from, then you double your points. If you could tell me both book and author, you will triple your points.
Ooh.
Okay.
If you only tell me author, then double your points.
So
It's
do I
pretty
have a
easy to know.
chance here? No,
I don't-
right?
Well,
Yeah.
sure.
If we both get it wrong and you get something right, then
Yeah, then you can come in second. Here we go. Next. The quote is, and I'm going to be very picky on the title.
Oh, great.
The title needs to be what the title is
Uh-oh.
and not
So-
what people think the title is.
there's a the. or
Yeah,
something.
exactly. There's a the
there a
or an
the?
A or an of somewhere.
Here we
Jesus.
go. Alice was beginning to get very tired of sitting by her sister on the bank and of having nothing to do.
Oh, this is like through something with the looking glass
Oh,
Yeah, see,
Uh,
this is what we knew. This is what we do to be
thing.
sure.
Through
This is
Alice, through the looking glass, and Alice. The Alice and the looking
Alex,
glass.
write things down.
Oh,
Don't
I
give
thought we were
away
doing
answers.
it
Yeah, no.
at the start.
he's just like giving
It's
us-
okay. We all knew what was going on here.
Alice was beginning to get very tired of sitting by her sister on the bank and of having nothing to do.
Wait,
I need the name of the book and the author.
it's not. Now I'm second guessing myself. I know
You
what
were-
it is.
Alice
But,
doesn't
like-
live here.
I feel like, but I know there's multiple versions. Matt, I don't like you. I don't like this game. I don't like you. It's not, no.
I have to double check that the title is what I think it is.
Well, there's a second one.
I'm very picky.
Yes, but there's only
Did
one
you know
book that
that?
there's only one book that opens with this quote out of
I
both
know.
books.
That's why I'm like, which one is it?
Okay, fine.
I'm just gonna go with it.
Uh-oh.
And I know the author's wrong, but I don't know another author.
Morgan, you said the name of this author earlier today.
Did I? Did I?
No.
Jane Eyre?
Hey, just to make Morgan feel better real quick, I used to think when I was very, very little that Shel Silverstein and Roald Dahl were the same person because our animation was similar. It was sketchy, but
I don't know who that second person is.
never mind.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, let's see our answers one at a time. Let's start with Alex. Alice Through the Looking Glass by the Mad Hatter, okay? Morgan.
Wait.
I'm seeing the answers first, then I'll tell you who's right, who's not. Alice Through the Looking Glass by Disney.
Disney?
Okay. Okay, and Alice Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll. The author is Lewis Carroll.
But it's not
Huh?
Alice Through the Looking Glass, is it?
The novel is
Can I-
Alice's Adventures in Wonderland.
Yes, that's what I thought it was. But then he said it, and I was like, no, I think that's the second one.
Uh-huh.
Where she goes through the
Because
page.
Alice in Wonderland, though it is the title of the Disney movie, is not the name of the book. I was meant to detour you from there, but then I think Alex
I sabotaged for my own
sabotaged
benefit.
everyone.
No, that was where I was going. That was where I was going anyway. I just thought there was like some suffix to it or something. I'm
Oh,
like,
no,
there's
I mean-
gonna be
Second one
some.
called Alice Through the Looking Glass.
Oh, there is. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
sequel.
It's a
significantly better.
subsection of the omnibus that is Alice's Adventures in Wonderland.
Yes. So essentially, if anyone had said Alice in Wonderland, I wasn't going to accept that, but nobody did. So,
Well, no.
Dang it, I knew that too, but I was like, he threw me off.
Oh.
well,
goodness.
Jeanette won. Yay!
Yay!
Woo!
Congratulations, Jeanette. Maybe I'll just keep score for the whole season to see who wins overall for Roald Dahl month.
Cool.
Jeanette. I'm just going to write Jeanette on my whiteboard.
Well, that's not gonna be fair because I'm not on them all.
But if you win all the other ones that you are on,
Matt, let's be real. How many have I been on? And I've only won one.
have you really only won one?
I only won one, and it was like I'm pretty sure it was the last one I was on. I've
Which
come
one
very
was it?
close, and I've been winning. And then someone
You did. I
always-
think it was a Pirates one. I think was it when Bonda was on? I think
Yeah.
it was.
Oh, yes.
Well, he stole it from me at the end.
Oh, true,
yeah,
you
and
did.
then he gave it to you. He was like, "Give my points to Morgan. She wins."
No, it was a Pirates one, but it was like the last Pirates one, I believe.
Yeah.
And I just like randomly popped on, and I won, and I was like, oh my god, first time ever.
Well, this will be your time, Morgan. This will be your time.
Wow.
All right. So we are about to lose Jeanette. Jeanette, do you have any closing thoughts on this? I was about to say James and the Giant Peach.
I really love this movie. I didn't get the opportunity to watch it with my daughter, but I intend on it because this is the perfect age for all of this. So that's gonna be I'm gonna be rewatching it again. But like I said, I love this movie so much, and I'm so excited to be back. And we're gonna be doing more Roald Dahl movies.
Can't
Not
wait.
Roald Dahl movies, Roald Dahl book movies, but you know what
Roald Dahl book movies. Can't wait. I can't remember. Are you here next week or are you back the next week? I can't remember.
I'll be back in this very similar capacity for this one remaining Tuesday.
Sweet. Next week is the witches, so you can come talk witches with us.
Yes, it'll be my first time watching.
So. Oh my gosh! Brace yourselves for nightmares because
I'm excited. I love
nightmares. It's a lot scary. It's a lot scarier than you think it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and you'll never look at oil paintings the same way again.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yes, those who know. Anyway, have a delightful show, everyone. Once you're done watching here, go watch We Like Theme Parks, or leave this show, go watch We Like Theme Parks, either or. Just watch one of us. Support all the people. That's what we're going for. Yes. All right.
Sweet.
Thank you, Jeanette.
Come catch us. See y'all. Bye.
Ta-ta. Bye. All right, friends. So now, do we have any other thoughts that we want to discuss with the movie? Anything we haven't touched on?
I mean, let me check my notes.
Yes, check your notes.
I don't think so.
I want to see what Alex has in his notes.
Oh yeah. So here, I wanted to, okay. So the shots in the movie, specifically when Matilda was like 2, but like really like 6, like when she was that little girl, I noted how effective the camera angles were. So like routinely the shots were like on the ground level, and that really kind of puts you in the perspective of like a tiny person. And that's probably something that's like pretty typical in like cinematography, but I in my mind, doing stuff like that can come off as gimmicky. And in the movie, I felt like it didn't. It just was like, oh yeah, like this is, it's really effectively conveying this tiny human navigating in this giant world. Oh yeah, DeVito's character, Mr. Wormwood, when he gets peroxide in his hair, that bit kind of fell flat for me because I felt his hair looked better with blonde in it. And I was like, this is not a prank. This is like an improvement. And
it's true.
It's probably like of the times that like that look was not appropriate. Whereas now like that look is in my opinion would be like very appropriate.
But then the hat ruined it no matter what.
Yeah. But like that's like the next thing after. But yeah, Trunchbull has a line that something to the effect of like, I hate children. I'm glad I never was one. I thought that was really funny.
Oh yeah.
I was like, okay, what does that mean? what in universe? What exists? How did Trunchbull come into being? That's something I want to.
No, actually, and I remember that is a direct quote
from the
book that I'm remembering right now. And then I think because as a kid that also stood out to me with the same questions that you had, where it's like how, and then the part that they cut for the movie, probably for comedic effect, was I think she's talking to Miss Honey.
Yeah.
And she says, I hate kids. I'm glad I never was one. And then Miss Honey says, oh, but Miss Trunchbull, you would have been one at one point. She was like, well, maybe very briefly, but I matured into a woman very quickly.
Okay. Yeah. So they didn't have any follow-up in the film. So
I think it's funnier the way.
Oh, I agree.
No, she says it in the film. She says it to Mr. Wormwood.
Yeah.
When she's getting her
she's getting the car.
Really?
Yeah.
Is there
it's a scene, the silhouette scene when?
Yeah, the silhouette scene. Yeah, but that's with Mr. Wormwood. Oh, okay. Yeah. I totally. I didn't pick up on who she was talking to.
He kind of looks and he's like.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does anyone know, was Trunchbull in Death to Smoochie with Robin Williams? That's a solid question. Someone IMDb it. Disney Dado, I task you.
Yeah.
Come on, watch Death to Smoochie now.
Two more notables. One is that Matilda, when she after she makes the glass with the newt spill onto Trunchbull.
Mhm.
She tries to demonstrate her powers to Miss Honey, but in order to do that, she takes the glass and then she fills it with water. And I just noted how that filling it with water was not necessary to demonstrate her telekinetic abilities. So I thought that was funny. I was like, why are you filling it with water? You want to like spill it on Miss Honey or
I
something?
think she wanted to recreate the exact circumstances. That's what you do with experiments, Alex.
Yeah, and that's a valid like justification for it, but the
Then she
movie
would have put
doesn't
the
really.
newt back in it. Maybe the newt
Sure.
was useful.
Maybe the newt was the key to the magic.
Yeah, so it was just a funny little thing of like it's not it's not immediately obvious as to why she did that, and so the hypothetical of like what what's causing that is interesting, and also from a directorial perspective, I'm curious as to if it was what you're saying, Matt, of like, oh no, she's like recreating the experiment, or if it was just incidental. Okay, put the glass up, fill it with water, and make the scrunched face on your look on your face.
Mhm.
And finally, we didn't really dive any deeper. Not that there's much to do on this point, but we didn't dive deeper on DeVito narrating.
Oh my gosh. That's the one thing directorially that I judge Danny DeVito for so harshly.
Well, from my perspective, I wasn't sure at any point that it was DeVito. At the end of the movie, I kind of settled on that. Like, there's a lot of this that sounds like DeVito, but it's not him speaking in his usual accent. He's like putting on a fake American accent. He's putting on an accent, I'm pretty sure.
I think that's more his I think his narrator voice is more his natural voice. And
really?
I think
feel like I've seen interviews with DeVito where he's like, I'm Danny DeVito.
No, like I think Mr. Wormwood is more a character.
Oh yeah,
voice.
no, Wormwood. Yeah, Wormwood. I'm not saying DeVito's voice is Wormwood's voice.
Okay.
But DeVito's done more than Wormwood, and he has and I'm pretty sure. I don't know how much of his filmography I've seen, but in most of the movies I've seen DeVito in, I feel like he has a consistent accent across those movies that I associate with DeVito. That's not as clean of an American accent as what I was hearing in the narration. Having said that, I'm not certain on that point. So if you guys feel like the narration sounds closer to what DeVito sounds pretty much like natural DeVito, then that's
natural.
Then that's then that's just a testament to me not having seen or heard
English,
DeVito.
is he?
No, I don't. But I think he has like a New
right?
York. He has like a regional accent.
No, I think he is
America.
definitely. I think his narrator voice. I think he's reducing his natural accent.
Yeah,
a little bit.
He has a regional accent. I'm pretty sure naturally a regional American accent, and the narration to my ear, which admittedly isn't particularly trained in American accents, but it didn't pick up on any like regionalness.
He was just trying to do like the boring standard accent
exactly
situation. Quick detour because I want to come back to this. Disney Dado can confirm that Trunchbull isn't Death to Smoochie as the mobster. I've never seen Death to Smoochie, but sorry, there's a fly.
That sounds like a great name.
Gosh, Danny DeVito is from like only 2 hours from where I grew up.
Go visit him.
I just look. He doesn't live there now, but I'm sure. But that's fun. That's funny because you really said New York, and I was like, what? He doesn't sound like he's from New York. Like, what are you talking about? And then I looked it up, and I was like, oh no, that's because he's not from New York. That's because he's where I'm from. That's why
he's from Jersey.
Yeah, he's from Jersay.
Oh, yeah. To Canadians,
Jersey,
those are interchangeable accents.
Sure, yeah, like and that's not entirely true, but they are it's what I said.
What
they're
are
regional.
You saying to
there's a
me,
Jersey
Matt?
regional accent, and there's a New York regional accent, and neither of those are what like Canadians would call like a clean American accent. So.
Okay.
Yeah. But I remember even as a child thinking and recognizing that it was Danny DeVito's voice because I went into the movie again because I was so excited for this movie. I went into it having done my research and I knew that Danny DeVito was both an actor and the man directing the film. And as soon as the narration started, I was like, wait a second, that's the same guy who's playing the dad. Is there a reason? And then there wasn't. It's weird.
Yeah.
I wonder if someone fell through. I wonder if someone was supposed to do the narration and it fell through, or funding issues. They just were like, oh, we're gonna have someone, or it was a last minute decision to have a narration because it seems like it wasn't thought out.
Yeah. No, I think it was definitely a choice. I'm sure it was a choice. I think that picking a narrator for a film, especially a film like this with the stuff that the narrator is saying and the insight that they're giving, it's such a crucial part to the film that I think Danny DeVito, for whatever reason, decided, I want this to be me. Like, I think it would have been a smarter choice to have literally anybody else.
That's why it seems like it's like post-production.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were like, oh, we'll get a narrator, and then like push came to shove, and they had a deadline, and they couldn't find anyone at the time. So
Or they didn't have the budget for it.
Or they didn't have the budget
Yeah.
for it because they probably wanted Morgan Freeman. Let's be
Yeah.
real. And they didn't have the budget for it, and there was no way he was about to do a children's film like that. Like no way.
Yeah.
So he was just like, you know what? I'll just do it, like to save money.
Oh, who would we have picked now that you said Morgan Freeman? Like, who would your ideal Matilda narrator be? I want James Earl Jones.
I would pick the guy that narrated Shrek.
Does Shrek have a narrator?
Isn't
Yeah,
it just Shrek narrating himself?
No.
Once upon a time, there was a princess. That guy. Okay.
Yeah.
I would have picked the guy who narrates Princess Bride, the grandpa.
That would have been hilarious as well.
But Shrek's a good
Or maybe
choice
the
too.
person that did Enchanted too.
Hmm.
Or not Enchanted. Enchanted
Oh,
Ella.
that was Julie Andrews. Oh, Enchanted Ella. Okay.
Enchanted Ella.
But still, Julie Andrews would have been a good choice for this as well.
Yeah, she would have.
Or I feel like it would have benefited from a female narrator as well. I think that's my main thing. Yes, this is the answer that we all want. Carol Channing.
Carol Channing sounds familiar.
Yes. You know what? Yeah, Alex, remember Jam Tomorrow, Jam Yesterday, but never ever Jam Today?
Yeah.
That's Carol Channing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And tomorrow.
Jam yesterday,
But
jam never ever jam today. Morgan doesn't know, doesn't have context.
Sure.
I mean, I didn't know until like last week or whatever. So.
That's true. Morgan, whenever the Alice in Wonderland marathon happens, you'll find out and you'll love it.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I've
Oh,
seen the
Yoda from
Alice
Mark
films,
would have picked
even though
me.
I don't like Alice.
You don't like Alice? Oh,
I mean, like it's like
Well-
okay.
Well, you've never
it's
seen
not-
Alice like this.
it's true. No, this is like made for TV 1980s Alice.
Oh,
Yes.
interesting.
So Carol Channing, Broadway legend, she she plays the White Queen, and for some reason she has a song about jam.
Oh,
Yeah. And it was an internet sensation. Like, it went viral, ironically, a couple years ago, and it kind of resurged. Yeah, and it brought back Carol Channing's popularity. But just for whatever reason, she does a full Broadway production number singing about how you're not allowed to eat jam today.
seems very White Queenish though. Like
Jam tomorrow, jam yesterday, but never ever jam today. Jam. Then she starts singing in gibberish, and she's like, "You can sample the funny with hundreds of money, but never ever jam today." I'll send you the clip. It's hilarious.
Okay.
Yes, it's brilliant. Surprised you recognized Danny DeVito's voice when you were 9 years old. So am I, but yes, okay, that's what happens when you play Cheers for me on a loop as a young child. What can I say?
Cheers, like the.
Well, yeah, no, that was the joke, the TV show. I've still never seen Cheers. I'm not actually sure how I knew what Danny DeVito's voice sounded like, but I did. I recognized that was Danny DeVito.
He's
Yeah.
in so many things that like I
Yes.
don't even know it's him.
I'm trying to think, though, what I don't know if I would have seen him or known of him from anything before Matilda. Because Hercules came out the year after this.
Oh yeah. I'm like Danny DeVito. Like,
What about,
where
like-
do I know, like what else is he in?
Like Cheers, I think, was his big thing.
Oh, was he in Cheers? I didn't even know that.
I'm pretty sure he was in Cheers.
I
He
didn't
was
know
in
that either.
Batman Returns.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
the
he's the
penguin.
penguin.
Ew.
Yeah, he's the penguin.
He's the
Oh.
penguin.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Taxi? Did you watch Taxi as a child?
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of Taxi. Is that a TV show or is it?
Yeah,
No,
it's a TV show, 1978 to 1983.
Oh, I'm thinking of Taxi, not Cheers. No, his wife was on Cheers. Maybe he was on Cheers too. Who knows?
I don't think he was, but
on Cheers.
yeah.
Deck
No,
the
Taxi.
Halls. Oh, that was in 2006. Junior,
Ta-
Tazzy.
1994.
Oh yeah,
He was in
Junior.
Space
Junior,
Jam.
yeah.
I forgot about Junior.
He was in Space Jams.
He was the Tasmanian Devil, I think.
That's hilarious.
He
But
was
maybe
also in something called Twins.
Yes, Twins.
So
Yeah.
you might have known him from that.
Twins and Junior both hit.
What-
Those were his two Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, Arnold films. Yeah.
Jack Nicholson, One Flew Over the
He was in what? Danny was in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
Yes.
I don't remember
Ooh.
him, but that
Yep.
makes sense to me. He probably was
I
one
feel
of
like
the patients.
the natural follow-up to Robin Williams month is Danny DeVito month for next year. He'll be the actor of 2023 that we just dedicate a whole month to watching the films of. Like, I think Whoopi Goldberg was next in the lineup, but no, it's Danny.
No.
It's Danny.
Give Danny the
I think Whoopi,
respect he deserves.
or who else? There were a few other contenders.
She is like
Whoopi-
such a random person that I don't know why she's famous, but she is famous.
Whoopi?
She's amazing. That's all the more reason we need to do a Whoopi Goldberg movie marathon.
I guess she was like before my like childhood time. All I know is that she was in like some ghost,
Yeah, Ghost.
She won an Oscar for Ghost.
and she
Oh,
was
she
in
did?
like she was a
Yeah.
nun in something, right?
Yeah.
Sister Act.
Sister Act, yeah.
Sister
She was
Act.
also in The Color Purple quite prolifically. Like, that was her big breakthrough movie. Lion King. I don't know.
Yeah, she was a voice in Lion
She
King.
was a hyena.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, Whoopi. We love Whoopi. So many actors. Actually, well, one that I really wanted to do that I don't think anyone was interested in was Marilyn Monroe, because I find her interesting historically. And
I'll
I
tell
mean,
you
Marilyn-
all about her dress. I did an extensive article about her dress for some reason. I read
Oh.
extensively about it.
Martha wants to see the Audrey Hepburn marathon. I would also be into that. I do love Audrey as well. I still don't know if she was a good actor, but I still love Audrey Hepburn. So yeah, so many people, so many potential movie marathons. But I guess to bring it back, anything else about Matilda that we want to discuss? Things we haven't spoken of. What did this
If
movie
you-
teach you?
Before I answer that, I just want to say if you haven't seen the musical, I highly recommend it. Like, yeah. Either
Music,
a
I thoroughly
recording-
enjoy the musical.
It's on Netflix for
Oh yeah, there's like a
the
pro.
US folks.
No. Well, I don't think it's available to watch on Netflix. My Netflix has the profile, and you can watch the trailer, but it's like
No, mine has it. Like you can watch it.
you can watch the full movie.
Yeah.
Of like the movie music or whatever, the shot of the
Yeah.
musical.
Yeah.
No, it's not a pro shoot of the musical. It's like a movie adaptation of the musical.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that existed.
It
That
is. It
seems
does.
cool.
It's coming out this year.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's new.
It's new. It's brand new. Yeah.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Emma
if you
Thompson is Trunchbull,
Okay.
which I think is a very interesting choice.
Yeah, I can. Emma Thompson. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Well, like
I think
Emma
that's a good
Thompson
choice.
can do anything. Like, actually, yeah, it is
she
a good
makes
choice.
sense. She makes sense. She's just not. I would say Emma Thompson isn't physically like her natural proportions. I don't know actually how tall she is, but she doesn't seem like a very large, like tall woman or whatever. Not that you have to be tall. You know, you can do anything with anybody in movies nowadays. But
That's true. No, she looks very Trunchbull-y.
yeah,
From
she has
what
like a
I've seen.
Trunchbull face.
And I think Emma Thompson can do anything. So
Yeah,
it does
she's a great
make
actress.
sense. But also, I have such a hard time accepting anyone that's not Pam as the Trunchbull, because Pam was just so iconic. She was so good. So good. Well, yes, and obviously Meryl Streep can do no wrong. Imagine Meryl Streep as Trunchbull.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh, it'd be terrifying. I just want to see Meryl Streep play every role in Matilda the movie musical. Like 70-year-old Meryl Streep playing little Matilda. It would be amazing. Her accent would be flawless. But yes, the musical, I agree. Everyone, if they have a chance, should see it on stage. I feel like it's not going to be a strong movie. I think it'll be an okay movie. But I was re-listening to the cast recording this evening before this and just thinking it's so uniquely tailored, I think, to be a theatrical experience in ways that I don't think will translate as well to a film. So,
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Wow.
But yeah,
We'll
no, I
see.
recommend seeing it live as well, and we'll see what the movie version turns out.
We shall. All right. And with that, everyone, we conclude our first movie marathon of the Roald Dahl thing. Hooray! Yay!
Oh my!
All right. Oh, apparently my mom didn't think Meryl Streep for Miss Trunchbull. She thought for the next movie marathon. Do you know how depressing that would be, Martha? If we just have like, oh my gosh.
Why would that be depressing?
Like,
To watch Meryl
I
Streep
just-
movies?
I just picture one week we do like what's the movie where she has to pick a kid to die? Sophie's Choice, and then
But
Wait,
Meryl Streep has a ton of
Kramer
like.
versus Kramer the next week.
Doesn't she have a?
Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah, but doesn't
Oh,
she have a
that's
ton
true.
of like young, like when she was a kid, like a
Oh, a
kid,
kid,
like
like
16?
No, she didn't start movies till she was like in her
Mamma
20s or
Mia.
so.
Oh, really?
Hello.
That's true, Mamma Mia.
Huh.
Like
Yeah.
he has plenty of good movies.
Oh yeah, she
No,
has-
I would only pick the depressing ones though. So yeah, Sophie's
Yeah.
Choice, Kramer versus Kramer, whatever, The Iron Lady.
Oh, that's
And-
a good one.
Yeah, and Into the Woods, which is just depressing because it's not as good as it should be. So, closing thoughts. Here we go. Morgan,
What am I supposed to say?
closing thoughts on the film, and then
Oh.
tell us all the fun things about you and where to find you and all the fun
Oh.
stuff you have coming up.
Oh, okay. So, I really like the movie. I think if you've never watched it, you should definitely watch it and maybe read the book. Because now I know there's a book. And you can find me on Teaching Disney on YouTube, and then you can also find me on my Instagram. Just go to Teaching Disney on YouTube, and then you'll go to there. I have Pin Wednesday is going to start back up either this Wednesday or next Wednesday. I have a teaching live stream that's going to be coming up on the third Wednesday of next month. I don't know what the date is. I think it's like maybe the 16th or something like that. Where we're going to talk about the teacher shortage crisis and all fun things about back to school and classroom setup and all that fun jazz. And yeah, I'm going to be releasing my Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party in probably this week, hopefully.
Exciting. Can't wait. Thank you, Morgan. Until we meet again.
Bye.
Bye. Alex, closing thoughts on the film, and then tell all the nice people where they can find you on social media and what fun projects you have on the horizon.
Sure. So yeah, no, the movie, I really enjoyed the movie. I saw it for the first time today, live. No. Yeah, I also recommend it. I mean, there's a reference to Xeroxing, so it certainly is dated in certain aspects, but I think as a film and thematically and performance, cinematography, all the fun and important stuff, I think it holds up. And then yeah, definitely check out the musical if you haven't already, or even if you have, watch it again. Watch this new one. Let's see how it holds up as well. And you can't find me really, so don't even try it. And then otherwise, sometimes Matt and I do live performance work together. So if you follow him, maybe you'll be able to find me as well. And otherwise, I audition for things, and maybe you'll find me without Matt, incidentally, one day. But yeah, for now, it's just auditioning, making money, and doing fun stuff like this once in a while.
And it is fun indeed. Thank you, Alex. Until we meet again one day.
Indeed.
Ta-ta. All right. And quick comment here. Yoda for Mark. Yes. So our film for next week is The Witches, the original one with Angelica Houston and those terrifying Jim Henson Creature Shop rats. So look forward to that, because I don't know if I'm looking forward to it, but it's going to be fun to discuss, to see if other people are as traumatized by it as I am. And yeah, if you're watching this channel, it's my channel. So please, the 6 of you that are still watching, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. If you've already subscribed, make a new channel and a new account and subscribe again, because I just hit 1,600. Woot. Why not help me get to 1,700? And yeah, that's pretty much it. Join us next week, Tuesday evening again, 8 p.m., where we will be discussing The Witches. Keep an eye out on the channel for a fun new video. I don't know when it's going to come out. It's taken me a long time to write it, but it's worth the wait. I'm so excited. I could tell you what it is, but it's better to be surprised. So until then, friends, my name is Matt and I have 2 degrees, and this has been the Tea Cup for One. Thank you for joining us. How do I end this?